This morning, we woke up in a gas station parking lot 10 minutes from the border between Brazil and Argentina. Today is the day we've been dreading because we have to leave the beautiful country of Brazil, which it is no secret we fell in love with. We got an early start. We pulled up to the border around 10 minutes after 8. Everything went smooth. We checked out the van and us and everything from Brazil, and we checked back into Argentina. To be honest with you guys, it is a bittersweet moment. We are going to miss Brazil, but we're happy to be back in Argentina.
Our second home, home away from home.
Yeah, this is where I went through all of my heart issues and my surgeries and the intensive care. So Argentina is also very special to us. Now, what normally happens when we cross the border is we just turn the cameras off, chill, relax, and talk about the country we just left. Kind of like a debriefing. And what we thought we would do this time is something a little different, right, Kurt?
Leave the cameras on.
We're gonna leave the cameras on as we debrief about our Brazil visit. One thing I want to make sure you guys know, if you're new to our channel, is this is not our first time in Brazil. We were actually here last year for a month and a half. We crossed over from Peru and drove down towards the Pantanal with the sole intention of seeing the jaguars and hitting it at the perfect time for dry season.
The Pantanal.
Yeah. So we stayed in Brazil for 6 weeks last year before we left and went down and toured Argentina and Chile. And then we returned back into Brazil this time, where we stayed for 4 months. So guys, we've been in Brazil for a total of really close to 6 months. 5 months and 3 weeks total time spent in Brazil. And we're gonna break it down and we're gonna let you guys stay along for that. So one of the first things we always talk about is what shocked us the most about this country.
And for me, it was the size and the diversity. I don't know if you guys know this, but Brazil is really the same size as the US minus Alaska. It's a huge country. It's got 26 states. I think we ended up making to about 12 of them.
12 of them, I think.
But the West is like, you know, wide open farmland, Everglades, tons of wildlife, beautiful. And then you have the mountains towards the east and then the beautiful beaches of Brazil. Yeah. But it is a huge country with all sorts of different.
Yeah, I think to properly explore Brazil in a van and see everything there is to see, you need a minimum of 2 years. And I'm not exaggerating.
It was huge. There's so many beautiful different things to see. And the diversity here, it's not just the wildlife, the flora, the fauna, the cultures.
Everything.
I mean, wow.
It is a surprising country in general. Now for me, mine's more like one single topic, because as we were preparing to go to Brazil, we were worried a little bit about not speaking Portuguese. And everyone told us, oh, if you speak a little Spanish, you'll be absolutely fine in Brazil. Portuguese and Spanish are basically the same language. Not no, but absolutely not. And now I will say that if you're just reading it, it's fairly easy to piece together the words because they are similar, but they sound completely different. The accent, the pronunciation, everything about it is different. If you're gonna spend a bit of time in Brazil, the most shocking thing to me is Spanish will not help you any more than English did.
Especially if your Spanish is Spanglish.
Bad.
It's Spanglish. So anyway, we got by. The Brazilians were so helpful, and there's a lot of English speakers here too. So.
It's not a bad thing about it.
But it was shocking.
Yeah, it was shocking. We really went in there thinking that Spanish and Portuguese were almost the same language, and that is not the case.
And we had a lot of amazing food in Brazil. But Snow, what was your favorite?
Without a doubt, hands down, the banana cinnamon pastel, which are these little deep fried, which I know is bad for me, but they're so good. Deep fried little what are they called?
They're like empanadas.
They're like little pastries. And the one I loved had bananas and cinnamon, and the best ones, they'd sprinkle a little cinnamon sugar on the top when it came out of the grease. I could eat those for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day. Now, one thing you need to know is you're only going to find these in the south of Brazil.
You try to order them someplace to the north, and they look at you like you're crazy.
Yeah. So what about you, Curt? Favorite food?
Well, I got to be honest with you. The Brazilian buffets are magical for a lot of reasons. Now, I didn't say healthy because you can really overdo it on these things. But first of all, they have a lot of Brazilian traditional sides. So you get to try all those and pick the ones you like. And then they have the churrasco over on the side, and Brazil
which is basically a big fire grill off to the side with like a meat man where you go get your meat at the end.
There's all sorts of ribs, steaks, everything, beef, sausage.
Now, when we first entered Brazil, way back when we came in from Peru sometime last year, we crossed the border. We'd been there about an hour. We were hungry. We came up on our first restaurant. We stopped and we went in, and it was one of these buffets where they weigh your food. We had no idea. You go up and we're like, where do we pay? How do we do this? And everybody thought we were crazy. But you fill your plate up and then you try to go sit down and they're like, no. Here, they literally weigh your food. And that's how you pay, by how much you bought. It's hilarious. It's great.
We get laughed at a lot, guys. We're kind of used to it. It's not just that type of stuff, not understanding the culture of the restaurants, but also, obviously, our language.
But if you laugh at yourself, you're going to be fine in Brazil. Now, we could not leave the food topic without mentioning the infamous dessert meat.
This was a fancy buffet, similar to some of the ones that we have, the Brazilian buffets we have in the U.S. This was fancy.
Think Texas de Brazil type place.
Yeah, Fogo de Chao. But in any event, the dessert meat had like strawberries and cream.
It was steak. It was a piece of steak that they put on your plate, and then they put like a yogurt sauce and a fresh made strawberry jam and a fresh strawberry right on top. So it was steak with strawberry jelly. It was so good. It was so good. So maybe that should have been the most shocking thing is dessert meat. But anyway, so the food in Brazil will blow you away. And if you're here, you need to be courageous and try everything. We do travel by a van, so campsites are incredibly important to us. Whenever we leave a country, we always like to talk about our favorite campsite. Now, this doesn't mean it was the most beautiful, most magical, had the best view, was right next to the coolest activity. It's just an overall favorite campsite. And for me, it was easy to pick this one because as we were traveling through Brazil, we started to get a bit of traveler's burnout, which happens when you travel full time. Sometimes you need a vacation from traveling, which may sound weird, but think about being on a vacation for 4 years. And you get a little worn out. So we needed a place to just stop, decompress, and chill. And we found the most peaceful, beautiful, filled with colorful birds campsite about 10 miles north of Parachi, really close to the coast. We pulled in there. We were going to stay one night. We ended up spending a total of like 10 nights there and totally reset to get ready for the rest of our travels. So without a doubt, this is my favorite campsite.
Yeah, and you know, mine was Party Beach, guys. Go figure.
Peaceful party.
But we just both absolutely love Florianopolis, the island, and we did a lot of beach hopping there, but at this one particular place, we were able to park the beach right in the front row, sort of a busy commercial beach area, right in front of the restaurant where they pop up the umbrellas, right basically in the middle of
everything.
Yeah, in my opinion, one of the best beaches. We had just delicious food. There were some amazing hikes. There was a beautiful river with a nice fishing culture.
The surfers, the families, everything.
It had a little bit of everything. And
it was free.
And it was free. We were in the middle of it. So it was a little noisy at night. So it wasn't perfect, but that was my
Doesn't
favorite.
have to be perfect to be our favorite.
Yeah.
That's kind of part of it. But yeah, so for Brazil, there are tons of beautiful, wonderful campsites. One of the most asked questions you get is, what is your favorite thing? What was your favorite thing on the journey? What's been your favorite thing so far? What was your favorite thing about this country or that country? And quite honestly, it's usually a very hard question to answer, and Brazil is no different, mainly because of Brazil's diversity.
There's so many amazing places. Yeah. It's tough. This is not a fair question.
No, it's never a fair question, but we're going to try to answer it the best we can. What was our favorite thing in Brazil? And for me, well, we have two. Let's just go ahead and tell you. We have two things. And the first
these are not individual. These are our favorites.
Yeah. So the first one was the beaches of Santa Catarina. And if you followed our journey, you already know we have determined that that is a place where we could come back one day when this journey around the world is over and live. We were very comfortable there. It's beautiful. The people are kind.
There was a lot of beautiful beaches, to be honest with you.
With hikes everywhere.
Hikes.
How the mountains clashed with the beautiful ocean and the blue waters and the trees. It's
a lot of birds. There was monkeys there.
Yeah, toucans.
It was the people.
The
people were our favorite.
Yeah,
I can't believe it took us so long to say that.
So anyway, Santa Catarina beaches. We can't even narrow it down to one.
We actually went, we hopped them on the way north, and then on our return trip, we went back there and spent more time, and we got to see the whales, which is also always a bucket lister for any time we get to see those for us.
All right, so the beaches of Santa Catarina, of course, have a special place in our heart. That is no secret. But the other one, if I had to pick between the two, which we decided we weren't going to do, we were going to have a tie. But if there was a tiebreaker, it would probably be this next one, because it's the Pantanal and the surrounding area. It is the amazing wildlife of Brazil. So many rare animals there that you can't see anywhere else in the world. And when you're just traveling by van and you can drive down these roads at the slowest pace and just look out your window and see amazing animal after amazing animal.
And a lot of cool birds. And a lot of this stuff you don't see anywhere else on the planet. And we had the opportunity to see an abundance of different creatures and unique experience. It was magical. Absolutely loved. Also the adventure of those crazy bridges. And it was a cool place.
I think a way to separate these two, I don't know why we didn't think about this when we were kind of getting our notes together here, is my favorite place to visit for a short amount of time is the Pantanal. I don't think I would want to live in the Pantanal. It's not developed and all that kind of stuff. And then my favorite place that I could stay for a long time, beaches of Santa Catarina.
Yeah, but what about Foz de Iguazu Falls?
Oh,
those were pretty magical. Those were like
there's some honorable
waterfalls in the world. I mean, that was pretty crazy.
It's true. All right, so speaking of that, let's go to our scariest moment in Brazil. Now, when we were headed to Brazil, we thought we were going to just be inundated with scary moments. You would think from the media and from people warning us that we were going to get robbed at least 10 times. And
well, let's just back up. First of all, since we started this journey, it's always the case that if you're from Canada, oh, don't go to the U.S. It's very dangerous there. If you're from the U.S., don't go to Mexico. It's very dangerous there. If you're from Mexico, don't go to Guatemala. And so on and so forth. Every country has another country that's more dangerous that you shouldn't go to. So we hear that a lot.
Yes.
But even inside of Brazil.
We were told, don't go here, don't go to Rio. We almost did not go to Rio de Janeiro, which would have been a huge mistake. So quite honestly, we expected to have a lot of scary moments in Brazil. And we didn't have any earth-shattering moments that were to blame on Brazil. Now, when I was thinking through this in my mind, I had an incredibly scary moment. And when it was happening, I didn't even really share it with Curt. And it goes back to Iguazu Falls. So we went down and we rode the boat ride up underneath the waterfall. One of the most amazing things ever. We had been in the country maybe a month or so, and we had come from Peru. And I had in Peru, now we know I had a heart attack, but I thought I had a really bad flu or something and just wasn't getting over it. But I was slowly getting sicker and sicker. And when it was time to walk up those very steep long stairs from the river back up to the top of the waterfall, I literally almost didn't make it. I couldn't breathe. And right then is when I knew something was very, very wrong with me. I managed to hold it together, but I'm sure if you looked at me, I probably looked like a deer in headlights. I was very scared. And when we got to the van, I told Curt it was time to just go ahead and get to Buenos Aires because I knew that there would be a hospital there I could go to. So I think that is my scariest moment in Brazil, when I knew something was very, very wrong with me health-wise.
Yeah, that probably qualifies as
the
scariest moment in her life. But I would add that when we were leaving Brazil, we didn't have really, aside from that, which incidentally, that was when we were leaving Brazil the first time.
Yeah.
So it's only when we're leaving Brazil that we have these events, because we didn't feel scared, threatened, anything in Brazil the whole entire time.
Before he tells you this one, I have a disclaimer. He's gonna say it was my fault. I'm gonna say it was his fault. So carry on.
So we're driving to the border. Unfortunately, we left a day before we planned on crossing. So we had a little bit of extra time, but we're headed to the border. And all of a sudden the road's closed. We have to take this detour, and we end up driving on this muddy road through the pastures. And it was actually kind of adventurous. But then we get to this place and we look over at the intersection. There's a vehicle stuck over there in the mud. And so the only option is to go up on this bank and go around. Well, I asked the guy if it was okay, if it was safe, and he said, sure. So Snow was the driver, I was the videoer.
No,
and
he was the pointer to tell me where to go.
Yeah. And anyway.
The van almost flipped over.
Yeah. Snow took the wrong approach. The van almost flipped over.
Well, Curt was telling me exactly where to drive the van.
But seriously, guys,
it was scary.
I just had Actually, I was filming it and I got so shocked when the wheel popped off. Yeah. I accidentally hit the stop button, but I thought it was going over.
Yeah, no, the front wheel up here, I could feel it, and I didn't know what to do. Curt was mad because I didn't stop, and for me, I thought I got to keep going so it comes back down. But anyway, the van did not turn over, but the front left wheel was clearly 18 inches off the ground.
I didn't think you should stop. I thought you should go on the brakes and stop it.
However, it worked. Anyway, the van did not turn over.
It was scary.
Yeah. And when your vehicle is your house, it's even more scary. But
and your only transportation, you're a foreign country. Yeah. Those things can all add to the element of fear.
So that was pretty scary, but nothing that is specific to Brazil.
No, we felt very safe. Yeah. And we do know every country has their issues. And we're not trying to downplay those.
You always have to use common sense.
We're just sharing our experience, and that was it.
All right, we're gonna wind this video down with, it doesn't have to be a location, a place, thing, anything, but our favorite moment in time from Brazil. You wanna go first, or you want me to go first?
Well, what I would say is, at any time I would answer this question, it would always be in the nature, and like everything else, there's multiple answers. But we came out of the Pantanal and we were looking for giant anteaters, and we saw one run across the road, and we had a short little glimpse of it, and we knew that ahead in the next couple of days we were going down Anteater Road. So
it's literally called Anteater Road.
So we're driving down these like literally total rural bumpy dirty roads nobody else in the world would go down to. And we're scouring for wildlife and we're seeing a lot of it. And lo and behold, at the end of the day, we see an anteater off in the field. And of course, I go running out in the field, and we get some good shots and come back and tell Snow about it. And then the next day, we're still at Anteater Road, we continue our journey. And then right at the end of the day, we spot two anteaters, and like Snow.
Right by the roads. I got to get close.
Snow got to have a really personal experience with them. But that wasn't enough. It was like 10, 15 minutes before darkness. I'm like, let's just park here by the anteater. She says, we still haven't found the tapir yet. We we need to go for a little bit more. And
he's like, we can't drive at night. It's getting dark. I'm like, we're not done. We have 10 more minutes of sunlight.
And sure enough, 15 minutes up the road, we saw some wild hogs, which led us to a very short Cape Fear spotting.
10 seconds.
But those anteaters and that experience were just absolutely
that whole evening, how the timing of me saying, no, I'm not ready to stop, and then we spotted it, that was a good moment. That was. Now for me, it's also over in the wildlife area over there by the Pantanal, actually right in the middle of the Pantanal. The reason we went there was to go on a boat tour on the river to hopefully see jaguars. Our first day, we saw a couple of glimpses of them, but quite honestly, we had a guide that wasn't the best. He was just young, nothing against him, but it was a long day, and we were a little bummed out after that first day. The second day, we went back for a half day because we're on a budget. We couldn't do another full day. And we got a more seasoned guide, and he had put us on a couple of them, but still not the epic shot of actually seeing a jaguar like you imagined.
Yeah, you get a little glimpse of them, but if you can picture this, they're just kind of hunting along the river, and we're floating down the river. So it's hard to spot these things, and if you do, sometimes you just get a little glimpse.
Yeah, which we had gotten, and we were thankful for.
We were thankful.
Yeah, we had saw them, and we had been able to film them a little bit to show you, but we were almost back to the dock.
We were headed back to the dock. We were across the river from the dock.
Yeah, we were 2 or 3 minutes from being done with our tour when all of a sudden this gigantic, beautiful, majestic male jaguar just comes completely out of the woods.
Saunters along the shore right in front of us.
For like 20 or 30 seconds, just right there.
Of course, we're like scrambling with our cameras.
And you're on a bouncy boat and all that, but it's like the jaguar knew that these guys love the nature. They're here to see me. Their time's almost up. Let's give some good karma back to them. They seem like good people, and he just came out. Put on the show
so many amazing things. The people here, the food, the flora, the fauna, the mountains, the beaches.
Everything.
Just an incredible, beautiful country. And thank you to all you people from Brazil for being such wonderful hosts. Yeah. We had a lot of people, say, hey, go to Gramado. Nobody international tourists don't know about Gramado, but it's one of our favorite places. And a lot of other places. And, I would just say if there's one thing that I am the most absolutely disappointed about in Brazil is that we did not get to see more of it. Yeah, we really were bummed about that. But the world's a big place.
I got a real strong suspicion Brazil will be back. All right, guys. With that, we're going to wind this video down. We'll see you in a few days.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. If you liked this video, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you guys know when we put out new videos. And don't forget, you can always follow us over on Instagram to see what's going on in between videos. Cheers, guys!